recording, but you say that like that's a new thing, but I typically I do start it. Uh-oh. Are you gonna say anything? Like welcome to the show or anything?
Are we on?
Yeah, I told you we've been recording for 20 seconds now.
Welcome to the show, dear listeners. I hope you're doing well. This is
Thoughts
it
explored.
is Monday evening, the 27th. Thoughts explored. This is our April edition, and we are still here on the West Coast anyway. Still in stay-at-home orders and social distancing, which Chris has coined physical distancing, which is so much better in my opinion.
Because that's the truth.
It is the truth. I mean, if anything, I feel like we're a lot more social now, even with people, friends overseas, friends on different time zones, because we can be, because it's all live stream or, which is kind of cool. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, so I would say welcome. Thank you, Lex, for that nice introduction.
I didn't realize that we were already taping.
I know. It's, it's Thoughts Explored, previously known as We Fall Asleep. It was another iteration before that, but here we are. And I am just tickled pink to be here with y'all. And the topic I wanted to talk about tonight, you have to pardon me if I'm yelling in any way, but there's a side of my face, the right side of my face, that
well, it's her ear, actually. It's
my
her
ear,
hearing, yeah.
having a little difficulty hearing, but I think that too shall pass. But at any rate, the topic I want to talk about, and I've been really thinking about, is the idea of accepting people who they are, where they are, in every moment.
Like where they are in their process. Yeah.
And we started talking about this, and then Lex was like, "Are we recording?" And I was like, "No, we're not recording." She's like, "Well, we should be recording this." So then we started recording this.
Well, because when you were telling me about your plan, not recorded, I might add, this was before she started recording, you posed the subject and you said, and I really struggle with this. That was your statement. So let's start with you talking about that.
Well, I said I struggle with it because I have struggled with it now that I understand what it means. And there has always been, I think, something within me that has wanted to have people be a certain way, or like I think that they should be a certain way, and that's just not the business, right? So finally, like all these years later, I kind of realized that, it's like if people aren't able to show up, they're just not able to show up in that particular time, and that might be a lesson that's a lesson for them, that's a lesson for me, and that's not a bad thing, and it's not a good thing, it just is. And so I think just being able to accept those moments and still love that person for the person that they are without an expectation of what I need this person to be.
Or what you think that would suit them better or serve them better.
Well, yeah, that's all that wrapped up in that, what I need somebody to be. And it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about that other person, and it's about how can I be of service to that other person. So I think really changing the lens and the focus, and really understanding what it means to be there for somebody. It is not to be there for somebody with your preconditions of how they're supposed to be, because it's messy sometimes, and it's, there's so many components to it. And so if you're sitting there with, I'll only be with this person if they can, pass my test, that's really not going to work. It's not going to work for anybody.
I
So,
think that it is, I think it's a good observation because we do have to remind ourselves that we also have the ability to, yes, it serves us, it serves everyone better if we remember to accept people for what they are, where they are in their process, whatever that looks like. And then we also can choose how far we're going to be with them or what we're going, how much we our availability is for them.
yes,
You know,
there's always choices. There's
yeah,
choices, but I think the narrowing and trying to squeeze somebody into how you think that they should be in a moment
it's useless.
is it's like my father would always say. He's like, people are going to do what people are going to do. I swear to God, it is so true. It's never been so apparent.
And you can either choose to be in their story or not.
Yeah, but
or have them in your
yeah,
story or not.
but they're going to do what they're going to do. You can have all the suggestions that you want to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the minute that you become attached to these suggestions, then you get yourself set up for a tumble down the hill, I
Well,
think.
it's attaching to something that you actually, in fact, have no
control over.
Yeah.
You have no control over.
You barely have control over what your own ass is going to do, let alone what somebody else's ass is going to do.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It's just
it's a lesson in futility.
I mean, that's the one thing that I will remember
Yep.
from my father. Well,
it's
I
a good
remember
lesson.
several things,
Yeah.
but that just sticks with me every day. I remember it.
Mhm.
It's just like, and he said it one day, and I was just kind of like, it's so simple, but it's so true.
Mhm.
I think also in this time, it's helpful to remember because people are just different places, and having the ability to see that and accept that and not try to go in there and tinker and try to cajole and make somebody believe something that you believe, or you know over to somebody's side, that's not what it's about, really. At the end of the day, it's not about that. It's more about how can we show compassion, how can we be loving, how can we be of service to people. And so to me, what that means is, when I hear like being of service, it means somebody says that they have a need. If you feel like you can fill that need, then you raise your hand and you jump in, you do it, right?
You don't try to change
You
their
don't
need.
try to, yeah, you don't try to be, well, it'd be better if.
Or to like engineer or tinker with what they're saying that their need, what they feel like their need is.
Yeah, and that's where the choice is.
Yeah, you don't come in and go like, well, I mean, if you changed your need to da 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 da,
right,
I can help you with
right,
that.
right.
Yeah,
it's
you're modifying their need, which doesn't work.
It doesn't, but I think we do it all the time. I think it's just, and it just, I don't know, the light just clicked on, or something. I heard something. I've been listening to all these podcasts, and they've been it's not podcasts, these are actual books that I've been listening to. I've gone through so many books, and I know that you have too. Do you have any ones that you would recommend?
Well, my audiobooks are pure entertainment and fiction, so no. I mean, like I'm not using my audio time like you are.
Okay.
Occasionally, I will like dial into like a Matt Belair podcast, which I really appreciate when you sort of handpick one that you're like, oh, Lex might really like this, and then Chris will forward that to me, and it's an hour podcast, and I really get a lot out of that. But mostly, my joy right now is good fiction. So no, I'm not. I'm not listening to what you're talking about.
I've been listening to a lot of, I'm just going through my Seattle Public Library reading list and just looking at it. One of the authors I've been listening to a lot is Judy Orloff. And as she was talking, this show that I used to watch a lot, Touched by an Angel with Della Reese. This lady was like, I think she was a narrator on that show. But
Oh, you recognize your voice?
no,
Oh.
she mentioned it.
Oh.
And so then I was like, oh my God, I remember that show. I used to love that show. Um, but she's an intuitive and all those things. And just such, and she narrates the book. So it's great. So you hear it in her voice, which made me think about what I'm going to do with my book. And I've been thinking about it. And it's kind of like, I think the hesitation is that there are pictures in there, and I just don't know how to articulate. You go on this page, and then there's this picture. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's something missing. So I almost feel like I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going
to do it.
yeah, and then I'm just going, the next book, I'm really thinking I'm just going to be all audio. So I'm going to start recording my thoughts on my walks and then upload that into a book. And there will be nothing written. So anyway, that just kind of went off into the ether there. But do you have anything to add to any of that?
Not to what you just said. I would like to say though that what your rehearsal before we started taping, or not your rehearsal, but your other portion of this was about the correlation of how we accept ourselves where we are at.
Yes.
Like,
thank you for bringing that in.
So that's the second component.
Yes.
Like not only, and it comes back to like really one of the basic tenets of not just Christianity, but really in so many world religions. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like, do unto others as you would do to yourself, and vice versa.
Yes.
So, like being compassionate with people at whatever level of understanding you think they are, you assess, like it's all driven from your ego. But to be compassionate with them, but also then to be compassionate with where you are in your process.
Well, I think it has to start with you, and if you're not very patient with yourself,
right,
then it just doesn't go well for other
first,
people.
Who knows? But they definitely are.
Well,
they're interconnected for sure.
What they say is that it starts with you. So you're not
kind and compassionate,
yes,
to your own journey,
how can you show that to anybody else?
That's a good point.
And I think that's a great addition. Thank you for reminding me, like you always do. I just thought
I'd bring you back full circle there, because that was one of the parts that you mentioned earlier.
As you always do. That's why I love you, baby.
Happy to be of service.
I couldn't imagine this life without you. So
I couldn't imagine this life without you.
And sometimes we, we like horns sometimes, and you're a saint for putting up with me. So I thank you for that. And every day I wake up and I say, "Oh, she's still here."
Sometimes she says, "Oh, she's still here."
Never.
And then other times she's like, "Oh, she's still here."
Never do I say, "Oh, is she still here?" But no, there's no but. That is it. That is everything. So with that, I think we can close it.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for dropping by.
We love you, and we'll see you when this is over.
Stay healthy, everybody.
Stay healthy. Be well.
Yes. Bye.